It's okay.
Nobody wants to watch a 30-minute video.
Huh?
Nobody wants a 30-minute video. It's better to do part 1 and part 2. Give them a break, You want to just do this one, chapter 13, that Mishnah? We barely did, or do you want to do the other one? You want to do that Apikoros thing or not really?
14. Probably just did the. It's okay. I don't mind. I'll just do it. Myself. But I like your commentary. You've got a lot more knowledge than I do. So if you're okay with me reading it again, it's up to you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, we're just reviewing. Right now, we're just reviewing Pirkei Avos, chapter 3, Mishnah 13. This time, in the last video I did, we were discussing which one we wanted to do. We kind of barely did all 4 of them in English and went in depth in 13. And now my friend Aaron Novy is gonna go in depth in chapter 13. Aaron, do you mind if we do it in Hebrew just because that's how you're supposed to review it also? I'll do it in Hebrew and you'll do the rest in English. Is that cool?
So
I'm just gonna read 13 in Hebrew. It's good to review in Hebrew also, and then you're gonna do the whole thing in English.
So you're gonna read the whole
Mishnah, just the whole Mishnah, the Mishnah in Hebrew.
Are you doing the whole thing in Hebrew, or are you gonna do each Hebrew part as I do it, and then I do it in English, and then you do the next?
I'll do that too. We're gonna keep doing the Hebrew. We're gonna do the whole thing over, but right now I'm gonna read the Mishnah in Hebrew. Rabbi Akiva Omer, Sechik vekalus Roish Margilin es haadam le'erva Maseres Seyag Latira Ma'isiros Seyag La'oisher Nedarim Seyag Laprishus Seyag Lachachma Shesika. Okay, now it's saying Sechlik Vikalus Roish. Now you can start in English.
You're doing 13?
Yeah, 13.
Okay. There's one letter that I keep on missing. I didn't recognize.
You got to start on the. First, you got to translate the Mishnah on page 100, and then the first commentary.
Okay. All right. So we are starting with Mishnah 13 again. We're going over it again in English, but on my side. So laughter and frivolity.
Rabbi Akiva said. Remember the top part of the page? That's a Mishnah.
What?
The very top, the very, very top, on page 100.
Oh, in English.
In English. That's a Mishnah right there. That's the most. That's what everything is based on.
I went straight to the
commentary.
Okay, so not commentary yet. Sorry. So
the Mishnah.
Is Rabbi Akiva said, laughter and frivolity accustom a man to rudeness. The tradition is a protective fence for Torah. Tithes are a fence for riches. Vows are a fence for abstinence. A fence for wisdom is silent. And that's Mishnah 13. Alright, so if you want to do the first part.
Okay, Schlik Vikalus Roish. Next.
Laughter and frivolity. Laughter that is associated with frivolity leads to negative things. But laughter that is associated with a mitzvah is a good thing. As the Talmud relates regarding Abaya.
His name's
Abai.
Abaya.
Abaye or Abai?
Abaya.
Abaye. Regarding Abaye, Berkot 30 Bravo, he was exceedingly cheerful because he was wearing tefillin. Knesset Yisrael.
Masaris.
Tradition. Regarding to the oral tradition through which we determine the exact meaning of the verses of the written Torah and its laws, Rashi.
Rabbi Yonah.
Rabbi Yonah is referring to the tradition by which we know both the exact spelling of the words of the Torah and its musical notes.
Okay, now if you're going to talk about Torah, if you open up a Torah, Sefer Torah, there's no vowels, but it spells a specific way. And if you open up a Chumash, there are musical notes called trup. So when you open up the Chumash, there will be a special note. It'll have special vowels and everything. But when you look at the Sefer Torah, the trup and the vowels are not there, and you have to practice it like all week to be able to sing the portion of the Torah that's done every Shabbos. It's not just enough just to read the Torah every Shabbos, but they actually sing it. And a special melody with trup and vowels together, without the vowels and the trup being visible to the naked eye. That it has to have been studied prior to doing so. Sorry about that.
What did you call it? What is it?
It's called trup. Trup. T-R-U-P.
Trut?
Trup. It's like Trump minus the M.
Oh, you kept on cutting out, so I'm sorry. I couldn't tell. So trup.
Yes. Trup.
Okay. So trup are the musical notes?
Yes.
And then you've got the vowels.
Those are the vowels are called. The vowels are actually called nekudot.
Nekudot?
Yes. And nekudot means points, because if you look at all the vowels in Hebrew, it's based on where the dot is at. Basically, the point is here, the point is there. Only in a couple exceptions is there not a point for the vowel, like a line with the point.
The point is everywhere.
No, there's like different.
The point is there. The point is everywhere, right?
No, the point is in different types of ways. Like a segel is three dots in a certain shape. It
was a joke.
Oh. Okay.
Laughter for frivolity leads to negative, but that was a joke for the mitzvah of doing good.
Exactly.
So it was a joke.
And as we said in the last video, a lot of rabbis would start off a joke to start off a class, and it's positive. Okay, Rabbi Yonah.
Musical notes, which was passed down through the generations, teacher to student. This protected the Torah integrity, so much so that only in rare instances are there different traditions regarding the spelling of the words of Torah in the Torah. Yep. Maharal explains that Maseret
refers.
You can. I wasn't sure. I was waiting for if I said that wrong. It's fine.
You were fine, Maseret.
Please correct. Say something wrong. Maseret refer to the
mnemonics
that were used. You did that earlier too. The M is silent. Mnemonics that were used to protect the student from forgetting Torah. He adds that Maseret cannot refer to the oral law, since the latter is not offense to the Torah, but rather an integral part of it.
And that's yes.
Rabbi Moshe
Alashkar, yeah.
What were you going to say?
Okay, I'm just saying Siyag fence. Now you're at fence and a fortification Rashi. Okay, Ma'asros tithes. Oh, this is your part. You gotta explain this one. Come on, Aaron.
Oh, yeah.
This is your mitzvah.
This is going to be a long lesson if I explain this one. Tithes. Generally, giving charity causes one to receive additional
Wait,
wealth.
is it generally giving charity or is it generously giving charity?
Oh, whoops. Generously giving charity. I don't know why I missed that. I should have thought about that because that wouldn't have made sense if I had.
Because I'll give you 5 pennies while I'm generally giving tzedakah.
Generously giving charity causes one to receive additional wealth from Hashem. And with this, basically, what's said is that if you give even 10%, that Hashem will give you back 10 times as much. Even if you only do 10%. If you do 20%, that's 10 times back as well.
Even if you don't give 10%, if you just give $1, Hashem gives you 10 times.
And if you pick up, you see pennies and nickels, you see change on the ground, anything you pick up, if you give a penny to charity that you just picked up, that's 100% charity. And you can get as technical as you want. And it's the only mitzvah that the Hashem allows you to test him with. And he actually tells us to test him with it. It's the only mitzvah that he wants us to test him with, that we are allowed to test him. And on top of the fact that if you give 10%, you get 10. That he says he'll give you 10 times it back. If you don't give 10%, what ends up happening is that you'll end up only with 10%. So if you have $100 and you don't give anything of it, you'll end up with only $10. Whereas if you give $10 of it for charity, you'll end up with eventually, and maybe it's not necessarily in this world, maybe it's in the world to come. But eventually, you'll get 1,000 out of that.
Okay, I gotta add this. So Aaron, you know what the word tzedakah actually means in Hebrew, though?
I can't remember. No.
It means righteousness. Now, tzedakah does not really, in Hebrew literal sense, mean charity. It meaning to say you don't give tzedakah, you don't give money because it's a good thing to do and you're helping out the other person. You're giving tzedakah because it's the right thing to do. It's righteousness. That's what tzedakah means. It's righteousness. So you don't give tzedakah because you really shouldn't give tzedakah because you're going to get back money from Hashem and because you trust Hashem. But the reason you give tzedakah is because it's the right thing to do. The other person doesn't have any money and you have money. You should give money. The rabbi is slaving away to help out save all the souls of the community, and he's not charging anybody anything. It's the right thing to help out the rabbi of the community. That's what tzedakah is about. When you really master tzedakah, you don't do it for your own sake, but you do it for the l'shem shemaim, for the sake of heaven. You do it for Hashem's sake. And then if you were learning, I posted last week about one of the what do you call it? The Sfiras HaOmers. I forgot exactly which day it was, but it says that the Rebbe teaches you that the one that is giving tzedakah is actually the receiver, and the one that's receiving is actually the giver, because the one that gives tzedakah is actually receiving all the brachos.
That's the one you shared with me, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think that one's. I remember that. What are you doing? Let me unlock. One last big point that I want to mention with tzedakah and charity is that, as Yoshua said, it's not good to give for the sake of the reward, because it's meant to be giving for the sake of heaven. However, just like any other mitzvah, if you start for the wrong reasons and you continue doing it, eventually your mindset will change and it will become for the right reason.
That's true.
So if you're giving tzedakah for the reward, eventually you're not even going to care about the reward because you already know it's coming. maybe not that the maybe that's not the reason why you change mindset, but eventually your mindset becomes rather not to look at the reward, but rather to look for the fact that it's for the sake of heaven.
Okay, next one is vows. Nidarim.
Vows. When a person takes vows and keeps them, he acquires self-discipline and the ability to control his impulses when challenged with destructive temptations. Rambam. With this, this is one of the things that it's kind of difficult, at least for me. I'm not sure how difficult it is for Yoshua, but at least for me, when you make a vow, you're not supposed to break it.
That's why in Judaism we have a minhag, a custom, that when you sort of give your word to somebody, the custom is to say bli neder, and that means without making a complete promise, like not making a vow. Like I say I'll give 10% bli neder, that means it's not held against me that Hashem should strike me down with lightning or something like that, but I'm making a commitment, but it's not an obligatory commitment where it's held against me. That's why it's a custom to say bli neder.
What does bli neder mean?
I think it means without vow.
Without vow?
You make a commitment without an official vow.
So then, in that case, when I say, hey, I'll come and help,
say bli neder. Say bli neder. Oh, that'd be awesome.
So then I can't get in trouble necessarily if I end up changing my mind or if I forget or sleep in or something.
Means it's not held as seriously.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes a little bit more sensible, because I don't know if a person makes a vow and then they break it. It's if I remember correctly. I'm going to say something about it's worse than if they had just not said the vow in the first place.
Probably, but don't be saying bli neder and all the time and just never keep your word, because then people just won't take you seriously and they won't rely on you.
Yeah, definitely not.
Bli neder means you should try your utmost and still try to do it. But if something happens, there's no decree against God to strike you with lightning or something, God forbid.
Basically looking at it as Bezrat Hashem, this will happen.
You could also say that. Well, with the help of Hashem. I like bli neder. Bli neder absolves you.
It also sounds funny.
That's because you haven't used it long enough. It's used all the time in Crown Heights. Okay.
I've heard it. But we're on our next part, silence. I'm going to do it in Hebrew.
That's what I'm doing. Shesika, silence.
One who is more concerned with expressing his own view than hearing those of the masters will not gain true wisdom. The beginning of wisdom is silence. Aphorism cited by Miri.
Okay.
Silence. Huh?
I just said okay.
Silence also helps one retain wisdom, since any mundane talk distracts a person from meditation. Sforno. So it's like basically saying once you learn something, unless you're talking about it, you shouldn't be talking, kind of, because you're not going to remember it very well. Is that kind of what it's saying? Like if you do a study and then immediately go play a video game or start talking about something mundane, you're not going to remember. It's not going to hold as. It's not going to retain that knowledge that you just learned.
So the wisdom of Torah is compared to a vessel filled with honey pouring a cup of water and a cup of honey is displaced. Midrash Shocher Tov 40, cited by Chida Petach Einayim. I still don't really get the whole comparison between water and honey. Maybe I'll ask Rabbi next time I see him. Or maybe you can ask him since you'll see him by Shabbos. I can't come there until next week.
Yeah. Alright. The last clause of this statement by Rabbi Akiva is in reverse. A fence for wisdom is silence. This follows the style of speakers who reverse their final statement to indicate that it is the last. See Maharal. Huh.
Rabbi Akiva.
Rabbi Akiva, the son of a convert. Rambam, Intro to Mishna Torah.
No,
The first
I'm sorry, you're right.
Life, ignorant for and hateful of its sages. Avot the Rabbi Natan 6:2. He went on to become one of the greatest sages of Israel. He was one of the 4 sages that entered the Pardes.
Let's
the one
go for
spiritual state. And the only one to enter in peace and emerge in peace. So that means the other 3 didn't enter and emerge in peace?
Yeah.
One who sees Rabbi Akiva in a dream should expect to attain piety. He was one of the 4 sages who lived for 120 years. The other 3 were Moshe Rabbeinu.
Yep. Hillel Chazakin, the older one, he was a big chassid.
Say that one more time.
Hillel Chazakin, the older one. He was a big chassid.
Hillel Hazraki.
Hillel Chazakin.
Right. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai. The primary sages of the Mishnah were his students. Whenever there is a disagreement between Rabbi Akiva and a colleague, the halacha follows Rabbi Akiva. He was killed by the Romans as one of the 10 martyrs, Magen Avot. Mishnaic links. Rabbi Akiva was a colleague of Rabbi Yishmael. Their statements are therefore cited together. Furthermore, Rabbi Akiva qualifies the statement of his colleague, greet every person with joy, but do not get carried away to the point of frivolity, which leads to impurity. He then lists a number of behaviors that lead to holiness and the opposite of impurity.
Yep. He then lists a number of behaviors that lead to holiness, the opposite of impurity.
He doesn't. Where do you find that at?
You were reading. I think you skipped. I don't know where you're reading it. I was reading the very end. You said something different. It said he then lists a number of behaviors that lead to holiness, the opposite of impurity.
That's what I just said. That was the last thing I said.
Okay, very good.
Page.
Very good.
In the next Mishnah, Rabbi Akiva explains why we ought to take measures to protect ourselves from spiritual harm. Just as a person erects a fence around something that is precious, so should we protect our spiritual selves because of our preciousness, since we are created in Hashem's image. See Sabona.
Wait, where are you reading?
I'm reading 102. The last part on 102.
Yeah, sorry, I got lost.
Okay. After mentioning that we are created in Hashem's image, Rabbi Akiva speaks in a 3rd Mishnah about freedom of choice, which is one of the features of being created in Hashem's image. Maharal. So that is the end of Mishnah 13. And it would be awesome if we could do this every day. It would be really awesome. What do you think?
I did. If you saw one of the latest videos I did, it talks about all these levels. Like it was very special. Like talks about everything that Hashem did. He did it for His own glory, but a lot of it is Chassidus because it teaches about the four worlds. If you watched one of my latest videos.
Yeah, I watched the Pirkei Avos ones.
Yeah, did you watch all the Pirkei Avos ones? Because I posted more.
If you posted some today, I haven't seen them.
No, I posted them yesterday. There was 2 that were yesterday. I think you only saw one of them.
I watched both of them.
I've made 3 videos total. This is the 4th. Well, now this will be 5. This will be another. There's gonna be 5 after today because today is 2 videos.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Sounds good. So maybe we'll look into